All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another extra SROS video. Today, we're doing a trade machine video. We are talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the last video on this channel was me talking about the Cavs after their loss to the Chicago Bulls. Donovan Mitchell did play in this game, and then they played the Bulls again. Shout out to the NBA schedule. Last night, Friday night, and they lost. Now, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell. They didn't have Darius or Evan Mobley and all the other guys kind of that have been hurt, like Max Strus. We're obviously not in that game, but that is just a bad loss. It is, or at least losing both those games. If you're going to drop one of them, fine, but going 0-2 to the Bulls, who over the last month have been kind of the worst team or a bottom three team in the NBA, with the expectations that Cleveland had going into this year, pretty inexcusable, right? So you can see, at least here, like their past schedule, they haven't had much success, right? You lose to Golden State. They're a mess right now. They were able to beat the Washington Wizards by 4. Donovan Mitchell had to basically carry this team in the fourth quarter, and Washington choked that game. Then they lose to Charlotte, and then back-to-back to Chicago. But there is way too much red for this team. Like, the Cavs are 15-14 this season, and I'm pretty sure. So, like, last year, when did they pick up their 14th loss in 2025? That was on March 21st. March 21st. That is what? 3 months from now. That is insane. That is insane. And they were projected to win 50-something games this year. Obviously have a little bit of regression, but they were the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference by most people, I thought. The Knicks could have been like the betting favorite, but the Cavs were right there. They're 13th in net rating. They're about league average defensively, and they're 11th offensively. And last year, they were number 1 offensively. So there's been an offensive regression. Now, you can look at a couple things here. You can look at the departure of Ty Jerome. You can look at the injuries this year. We have rarely seen Allen, Mobley, Garland, and Mitchell all play together. Off the top of my head, I think it's happened, but it's definitely not a large sample size by any means. And then, actually, I can figure that out just pretty quickly through some lineup data. So, yeah, their core 4, basically, this year have played 51 minutes together. That's not a lot at all. And Mobley's missing some time with the calf injuries. So I mentioned they lose Ty Jerome. They trade away Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. And they lose Jordan Ott. Now, I'm not going to say their regression is because of an assistant coach, as I realized I wasn't even recording my screen. So I'm going to hopefully just throw up some photos for you guys. But yeah, 51 minutes for these guys. I was kind of just talking about the Cavs net ratings and stuff. And yeah, the Cavs have not been great this year. They add Larry Nance Jr. I like that addition. Jalen Tyson has taken a step forward, but it feels like DeAndre Hunter has taken a step back. We kind of know what Jared Allen is, and he's not somebody that's going to elevate your team. And so like Mobley and Mitchell are out. Garland steps up, but like Allen is just going to kind of be what Jared Allen is. He can't really like elevate his game a little bit in a higher workload when guys are out. It feels like Hunter, I think, has been a mess defensively and offensively. Strus hasn't played all year. Lonzo Ball might be the worst rotational player in terms of shooting the basketball this year. Sam Merrill's been fine, least of their issues. Dean Wade has not been great. Too passive. Shots aren't falling. It's like Thomas Bryant. We kind of know what he is. Craig Porter Jr. has been fine. And this team, you can also see, is $22 million over the second apron, which basically limits them in a ton of trades that we're going to go into today, or at least just trying to feel out. Like, I like these videos because kind of still feels like a podcast in a way. It's just like half an hour of me and you guys talking about Cavs trade ideas, and I'm going to go through what works and what doesn't. And it's really tough to figure out what works with this team just because of the $22 million that they are over the second apron with. So basically, they can't trade DeAndre Hunter and Jared Allen for somebody making $43 million. They cannot aggregate contracts. It's either a 1-for-1, 2-for-2, 3-for-3, but this team also cannot take back a dollar more than they send out. So if DeAndre Hunter, they're sending out in a trade, that player has to make exactly DeAndre Hunter's contract or less on the open market. This team also does not have a lot of draft capital to work with as well. They do not own their first round pick this year. It's been swapped on a swap, but they do get a first round pick this year, but it's like the least favorable of a bunch. Right now, they would be picking at 27 via San Antonio because it was like a swap with Atlanta, who had a swap with San Antonio. 2027, it's going to Phoenix. It was originally going to Utah, gets sent to Phoenix in that like 3-pick for 1 pick the Jazz and Suns made last year. 2028, we have another swap here with Utah from the Donovan Mitchell trade. 2029, Charlotte got this pick from Phoenix, who got it from Utah. It was involved in the Yusuf Nurkic salary dump. So they don't own a direct first round pick till 2030. And they own 31, 32. It seems like a lot of teams are kind of in that position, right? Like the Clippers, 2030 is when they own their first. Same with like, not Minnesota anymore, or like Milwaukee in a way. And Phoenix, I mean, they traded their 2031 unprotected first last year, which I still think is, I don't know. That was a very bad trade, but we're not talking about the Suns here today, who have been good this year. So this team does not own a first round, or does not own their first round pick this year. They're going to make the playoffs. This team is way too talented to not make the playoffs. Evan Mobley is still objectively a good player. Donovan Mitchell is either going to be an all-star starter or the guy that just misses out because Maxey, Cade, and Brunson get him. And 13th in the NBA net rating is not bad whatsoever. Right now, they're the 8th seed. I think they're better than Miami. Like, today, you could say Miami's a better team from what we've seen throughout the first 30-ish games, but I'm still projecting these teams going forward. I still think Cleveland is better than Miami. I think they're better than Philly. I think they could still be better than Toronto. I think they could beat Detroit in a playoff series. They could beat the Knicks in a playoff series. They've had their injuries in the playoffs over the last few years as well, where last year they beat the Heat, they dominate the Heat, and then everybody kind of gets banged up against Indiana. They choked that game too, and that basically ended the series. In 2024, they were so banged up against Boston, in which, hey, Evan Mobley looked good as a 5, and then in 2023, they were projected to beat the Knicks, and then I think Darius Garland was banged up in that series. So, what is this team doing? We could talk about a Mobley Giannis trade, something like that, but I do think from what the reports are saying, Mobley and Mitchell are the two untouchable guys, which makes sense. Evan Mobley just signed this massive contract extension. He won DPOY last year. $61 million is a lot in 2030. They could thank the Wemby injury for that, because then Mobley's contract hits some escalators, basically for him winning Defensive Player of the Year. They're not going to trade Donovan Mitchell yet. He could be a free agent after next year. That would be an off-season thing. That would be another playoff run, doesn't go well. He's extension eligible, and he doesn't sign an extension. And now we're like, okay, we cannot allow this asset to walk out of the door for nothing. Somebody that's embraced Cleveland, but didn't want to go to Cleveland. He wanted to go to New York or one of those teams when he was going to get traded from the Jazz. Like I said, he's embraced Cleveland, but he's had the same issues. He's yet to make it to the conference finals here in Cleveland. And he's got that $53 million player option in 2028. This is exactly like the same contract that Cat has, that Anthony Davis has, and that Giannis has. And Donovan Mitchell can be extension eligible on, let's see, 7/7/27. That feels wrong. Maybe he's extension eligible right now, like low key, because this is the player option for 2027. And I do not see the deadline for him to be extension eligible. So if he does not sign an extension this offseason, I'm thinking about trading him in the offseason, but we got to see where they go this year, right? So how do we make this team better? I think there's one guy that I would like to shop around, and that is going to be DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter is making $23 million a year. I do think he has some value at $23 million and $24.9 million. But the problem is, you were over the second apron. So it's got to be a 1-for-1. And is there even somebody that makes sense out there that you can get coming back? Like, I'm going through my mind, like, does Corey Kispert make you better? But does Washington really want DeAndre Hunter for $24.9 million next year? Like, does Miami look to get out of, like, can you get Andrew Wiggins? I think Andrew Wiggins you can't even do right now because Andrew Wiggins is making too much money as it is, $28 million. So you can't do that because you can't aggregate contracts. So maybe DeAndre Hunter is a little bit harder than I thought. I thought maybe the Lakers, who are just looking for buy low candidates out there as well, can potentially look at DeAndre Hunter. Like, I think Rui and Hunter is a little bit redundant. So, like, are you doing... I don't even think you're getting a first for this trade. And this also doesn't work as well because the Lakers get hard capped at the first apron. The Cleveland Cavaliers are maybe one of the tougher teams to figure out a trade with. I would love to do a Charlotte-Cleveland trade. I would love to throw Lonzo in this trade. Maybe we can. But now this is making me think, what about trading away Jared Allen? Jared Allen's making $20 million a year, but you're still $22 million over this the second apron. Is there a player here in Charlotte that you really like? I don't even know what player like makes you that much better because now you're trading away your starting center and you're getting... Do they have it? They might have a trade exception here. Like, say you do Josh Green. I don't even think they can do this as well. Okay, they can do this financially. Like, can you get a draft pick in Josh Green who hasn't played this year? But why are you doing that if you're Cleveland? I think you're making your team significantly worse. I don't think there's a point of them getting another guard that can't play out there with Mitchell and Garland. I do like the idea of them getting, I don't know, like, you can't Can you get 2 players back for Jared Allen? I don't think so, right? I know you can. Okay, you can. Like, do you do something like this in a first-round pick? I'm just throwing this in for whatever. I'm not saying that's the exact first-round pick they're getting, but hey, I'm not saying it's McNeely and Josh Green who's been hurt this year. Grant Williams, unfortunately, has been hurt. But Charlotte could be in the market for a center. You're not getting Brandon Miller. You're not getting Con Knipple. But I think that's a team that could look for a center as well. We could talk about the Indiana Pacers, but now we're just like trying to make a deal to make a deal, right? Just like trading away Jared Allen make them better. I think so, but they need to get, I think, another wing or a stretch four potential guy. Say you do, I mean, Boston, they already have their issues financially. Do they even want to go back into the second apron as well? Like, you can't really make a deal as it is, because Boston's going to be a second apron team, cannot take more salary. So yeah, this would probably make Boston to the second apron as well. Or Boston might even be in the second apron still slightly. So Boston, like, getting Jared Allen could make sense roster construction wise, but would they do that? I mean, Chicago has plenty of like just kind of tradable guys that are free agents at the end of the year, but does adding like Kobe White make a lot of sense? I had assumed he's had a good year. I don't really know if that makes a lot of sense either. It's just, it's very tough to find these defensive first wings. I think another team that could make sense as well. It's tough though, because Derek Queen's kind of their center for the future. So like, would they want Jared Allen? But say you are able to make a trade for Herb Jones, who I think would actually be a huge upgrade for Cleveland. I mean, does Herb Jones for Jared Allen work 1-for-1? I'm just kind of looking at this. No. This would hard cap them by $2 million. So say you do Alvarado for Dean Wade as well. Does that work? Probably not. Or say you do, like, let me just see what the financials work like. Kevon Mooney. So Kevon Mooney and Herb Jones for Jared Allen and Dean Wade. And now we're aggregating salaries. So that is not possible. It's tough, man. It's tough. But I don't mind the idea of, like, how could we get Herb Jones, or like just a Herb Jones for Jared Allen swap in a way? Could we do Alvarado? Does this work? This might work. Like, do you do this if you're New Orleans? I think pre Derek Queen, maybe. Jared Allen is making 28, 30, 32 in 2029. I don't know how teams feel about that. Jared Allen's a good player, not a great player. I love the idea of Herb Jones in Cleveland. And he could play the three, like, in a perfect world, it's Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Herb Jones, Mobley. Your perimeter defense is really anchored by Herb Jones, but Herb Jones and Mobley defensively, I think is great. And I think when you're getting the maximum value out of Evan Mobley, it will be him at the 5 spot. It's going to be impossible to, like, this team is in the second apron, so you can't really get Trey Murphy on this team, because unless you're trading Garland, who's at $39 million, like, you can't get there with $23 million on Hunter. That's the issue. And Hunter's value is really low at the moment. Another player that I would like in Cleveland, but I don't know if they would trade away first round picks. And I don't even know if this team would want to trade him, but I feel like he's a physical guy that would help out their wing depth at the moment. Like, does Dallas look for some 3-point shooting? Clay's probably not, like, no, this isn't involving Clay, but it would involve Najee Marshall, who's making $9 million. And for Cleveland, like, do you send out Lonzo Ball in a first? Like, Cleveland does have some seconds they can trade. This doesn't even work because it's hard caps Dallas at the first apron, which is an issue. They're taking back $1 million more. Oh my God. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you can't do Sam Merrill. You're obviously not going to be able to do Max Strus in a deal. I mean, say you do Max Strus and you do, like, let me just see if D'Lo works out financially here. Or maybe even Jaden Hardy. I just want to see this real quick. No. What about if you do this? Does that work financially? No, this doesn't either, because Dallas is hard capped at the first apron. I like the idea of Najee Marshall, though, in Cleveland. I feel like that's another switchable wing that plays physical, plays hard, and I think could be an upgrade for you out there as well. I mean, does this team really look to get a better backup point guard? Like, does this team try to trade for Ty Jerome in a way? I mean, that would be nice, but no, why would Memphis do that at the end of the day? I'm kind of looking up at backup point guards around the league. It's really thin, man, because I think a lot of teams are trying to get a backup point guard. So, like, do you think Alvarado, like, you kind of go back to that? Well, I mean, Sacramento, I think is a team to trade with. I'm going to eventually get to the Darius Garland trade ideas, which I don't think happens this year. I think DeAndre Hunter gets traded or Jared Allen first before they trade Darius Garland. like, say we get Dennis Schroeder to Cleveland for DeAndre Hunter. I mean, you get out of this trade fails as well because Sacramento gets hard kept at the first apron. What about if you do Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder for DeAndre Hunter? But okay, of course they're hard kept by 400,000. So say, I mean, I'm not going to do a 3-for-1 here, but I'm just saying, like, these financials do theoretically work. Why would I don't think Sacramento would do this. So, like, is Cleveland willing to trade away an unprotected 2030 swap, right? So you're still having Mobley. You're like, I don't know. You're getting depth here. I don't know if they would do this trade specifically. I don't even know if either team would do this in a way. But I guess theoretically, Sacramento is getting DeAndre Hunter. This team needs wings. They need size. And Hunter is under contract next year as well. And then you're basically getting out of Dennis Schroeder, who's not really been great for you this year. Keon Ellis is probably going to leave in free agency. I actually think Sacramento might do this trade in a way. Because Sacramento has plenty of guards, so they can kind of trade away 3 of them. I mean, you still have Nick Clifford, who's kind of ran some point. You have Zach LaVine, who can run some point. Malik Monk, who can run. I mean, the Kings aren't good, so it's not like I'm trying to elevate their ceiling this year. I think this can make them better next year, and you acquire an interesting swap in 2030. Who knows? For Cleveland, you got to pay Schroeder less money next year than you would have to for DeAndre Hunter. You could theoretically move on from Devin Carter if you wanted to in the offseason, but you're buying low, and Keon Ellis can really help you out defensively off the bench. And I like Craig Porter Jr. offensively this year, but Keon Ellis is a better defender, and he'd be better, I think, than, like, this is way better than the Lonzo Ball experiment going on. But I just don't know if you would make something like this until you see Max Strus back. But hey, Jalen Tyson, Max Strus, Sam Merrill, it's not the worst, like, wing core in the league. You just need to see those guys healthy this year. So I actually don't hate that idea. I feel like Sacramento and Cleveland could be a trade partner. I just don't know if Cleveland wants to trade away future first rounders as well. Like, does this team, like, Indiana could go for Jared Allen, but it's just an in-division trade. I don't think that happens. Like, why would Cleveland want to help out Indiana? But what is even this trade? I mean, you can maybe get some depth here. Like, say you do Benedict Mathurin. They're not going to do this, but I just want to see if the money works out. It does. Like, who says no here? Mathurin and TJ McConnell. Probably the Cavs, even though McConnell's such an upgrade over Jared Allen. And you get Mathurin, who has high upside, but he's a restricted free agent you'd have to pay anyway. He's probably going to get maybe $20 million at least in the offseason. So now that kind of hurts you, I think, financially next year, given a Mathurin extension. But I think getting TJ McConnell would be a huge upgrade for this team. So that's another team. And then maybe a first rounder is thrown around in that deal as well. It's really tough to make the money work. Now, I'm trying to think of any more Jared Allen teams, any more DeAndre Hunter teams. I just don't think Hunter has a ton of value. Oh my God, you can see like 6 recent trades. What the hell is this? It's like an 8-teamer, 9-teamer. Anybody else trying to make a move for Jared Allen? I don't think the Spurs want double big. I don't think the Lakers have the financial flexibility or the assets, honestly, to get Jared Allen. Obviously, Reeves is in no type of deal there. Memphis, no. Like, you're still running out Zach Edey, hoping that he'll stay healthy. Does Portland make a trade for Jared Allen? You might say they have Donovan Clingan, but do you think that Allen helps you right now? You're okay with the contract going forward, and you have some financial flexibility. Let me see if this one works. Now, I think Scoot and Clingan for Allen might be a little bit rich, but what if you do like Matisse Thybulle, Donovan Clingan, and I don't know, a first-round pick? It doesn't have to be one of the juicy ones. I don't know which one they can maybe trade, but say they trade, I don't know, you're not trading a Milwaukee first-round pick. Maybe it's the Orlando 2028 one in a way. For Cleveland, you're getting an $11.5 million expiring. You're getting a still semi-cheap rookie contract for the next 2 years, then Jared Allen. And now you're kind of okay. And you get a first-round pick, which you can deal in a different move. Like, this doesn't make you better. It doesn't. And you're still running into the same issue with Clingan and Mobley in the front court, but you might be more comfortable with Clingan coming off the bench. It's really just kind of financially trying to shed some money here against the second apron. That's like another team, Portland, like, would they look for that upgrade? Like, I think Clingan can be as good as Jared Allen one day, but we'll see. And then I guess the last team is like Brooklyn making some type of deal, but they might be more in the Garland sweepstakes. So that's, I think, another possibility is Garland. You know who I think is a perfect backcourt partner to Donovan Mitchell? Jalen Suggs. But since this team went out and got Desmond Bane, they're not doing that. And I was saying like some type of Suggs for Garland swap. Like, who would say no last offseason? I don't know. It was a different time last offseason. So who's like a Garland suitor out of all these teams? I think Brooklyn, Washington, maybe Toronto in a way, maybe Milwaukee in a way. Probably not Boston. Philly, no. Miami, yeah. Chicago, no. Atlanta, no. So, like, does Washington have anything that can help you out this year that it's even worth trading Garland? Because you kind of want a bunch of picks. I don't really want Chris Middleton's expiring contract or bringing CJ McCollum to Cleveland, where he almost got traded like 3 different times to Cleveland in his career. I don't really think that makes sense in season. We're talking about in season trades. In the offseason, we could talk about that. Brooklyn, I mean, the thing is, like, I think trading Garland is also huge in a way. Well, it sucks because you're in the second apron, because now I'm like, okay, could we do Garland and Lonzo Ball and Larry Nance, and we can get like 3 guys that are upgrades for the most part to this team's building. Like, do I really want Terrence Mann? Hayward Highsmith has been hurt this year, and this team just drafted like 3 point guards and a point forward in Danny Wolf. So I don't really think they make some type of move there. Toronto, like, I don't know if RJ Barrett makes this team better. Emmanuel Quickley, I think you still run into the same issues, although Quickley's a better defender than Garland. Garland did play well against Chicago recently. Played good against Chicago on Friday night. Milwaukee, not like, no. I don't think an in-division trade happens like this. If it's a last-ditch effort to keep Giannis happy, like, you're trading away like Ryan Rollins in this deal. Like, does Cleveland think about, okay, we'll take your 2032 unprotected first, and we're sending a 26-year-old Darius Garland to our division rival. This doesn't even work out financially by about $4.5 million, because you would want Ryan Rollins back in this deal. So say you do Kevin Porter. Now we're trading away another guard, and I think the Cavs might, or the Bucks get maybe worse right now. Like, you're trading away 2 good guards, at least this year for you in a way, and Kuzma. I mean, the Bucks need depth. I don't really think they need to do a 3-for-1 at the moment. But if you're Cleveland, do you think about that? I'm just saying, do you think about this? You can also say, like, Matt, shut the hell up. Like, why would either team do that? I'm just kind of spitballing with you guys. Miami, they're going to be, like, linked to Ja. They've been linked to Trey in the past. I mean, the thing that they would have to offer, I mean, you can get there with Rozier, but does Hero, Powell, and Garland make sense? No. So are you doing Hero for Garland? That doesn't really excite me too much. If I'm Cleveland, I think you kind of still run into the same issues. So could you do Norman Powell? Oh man, Andrew Wiggins, or can you? I would probably want Andrew Wiggins, and then maybe somebody gets rerouted to a third team. So Miami's hard capped by about $4 million, but given that this is I don't know, you would have to poison pill Fontecchio, which makes things tough. What about, can you do Davion Mitchell? Because this team does not need like 1,000 guards. Now that's more than Darius Garland's making by. How much? How much is this making? 39.4, 39.8. Yeah, 400K more. That's the difficulties here with the second apron. But I think I could see some type of Miami thing. Andrew Wiggins back in Cleveland. The team that drafted him, sure. I think Andrew Wiggins could make this team better in a way. But maybe isn't that physical wing that you would ask for. I mean, this team needs like a Lou Dort or an Alex Caruso, in my opinion. Those do not grow on trees. Dylan Brooks would be a good addition, but Phoenix isn't trading Dylan Brooks at the moment. You're not getting Tari Eason for Houston. I don't think they're trading away Fred VanVleet and Tari Eason for Darius Garland. I don't think that solves their issues whatsoever. So you're kind of going through these teams. What team would want to add a point guard? I mean, you're not trading. You can't trade for Kawhi Leonard, although Kawhi Leonard would probably be a solid fit in Cleveland. You're just not getting there financially. And then I guess that goes back to the Kings, and maybe we could talk about the Pelicans. If they would trade for Garland, there's been Garland rumors to the Pelicans in the past. They could have drafted Garland, but they opted to trade that pick for DeAndre Hunter. Or Hunter ended up, in Atlanta. So say Sacramento, like, what do they have to offer you for Garland? Now, what intrigues me is Sabonis and Evan Mobley in the front court together. Like, I do think they pair up well because Sabonis' ability in the past to space the floor. Mobley can space the floor. Mobley can obviously help out Sabonis as a defender. And they both are solid passers for big men. So I think you can run some creative sets with, like, DHO galore around those guys. But it's impossible to get there financially in season unless Cleveland's somehow able to duck the second apron in a separate trade, which is a straight salary dump, which is probably not going to help you out this year. So if you're sending Garland to Sacramento, I also don't think this is going to be a move that helps you out this year. Like, I guess we're getting back, we'll say Malik Monk, we'll say Devin Carter. It's probably even incredibly tough to get here financially as well. And let's do, Dennis Schroeder, like that probably gets you there financially. It does, but now it's a 3-for-1, but then you're also like asking for a 2027 first, 2029 swap or something like that. And I just don't think Cleveland does that. I just think that's a little bit premature. It would be a little bit reactionary to do something like that at the moment. Like, do the Pelicans make a play for Darius Garland? I know this team has fears now, so like I don't think they would. Like, you're probably trading for an injured DeJounte Murray. Like, does Jordan Poole make Cleveland better? No. Like, in a perfect world, you're getting like, I don't know, Trey Murphy. You're doing like a Trey Murphy for Darius Garland trade, which I think could have been like an idea in the offseason. Like, say you're able to snag Trey Murphy and Kevon Mooney. That doesn't even work out financially. You would have to do, I mean, in a perfect world, like you're getting Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, but God, no. Why would the Pelicans do this trade? But God damn, this would make the Cavs so much better. So much better. But yeah, like New Orleans doesn't, like Jeremiah Fears is playing well this year. Like they kind of still need to see DeJounte Murray out there. Like, yeah, they would trade Jordan Poole, but it gets incredibly tough. And then Minnesota, like Jaden McDaniels is an absolute perfect fit next to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. But why would Minnesota do that? They would have no incentive to do that whatsoever. I don't think Minnesota just beat OKC. I don't think they want to make a massive shakeup. And I don't know if Garland and Ant really even works like that. So it's really tough, man. It's really tough. So I think Cleveland is one of the tougher teams to trade in the league. I would love to know kind of who you guys think Cleveland could make a deal with. I think what's most likely going to happen, I mean, we have still about a month and a half until the trade deadline, which is around here. It's whatever that Thursday is, around February 9th this year. It's game 54. So we're going to know a lot more about this team. So they're at what? Almost 30 games. They're at 29 games. So there's about 25 more games-ish till the deadline. If this team is still in this play-in tournament spot in the East around then, I expect them to make a trade, especially since they're paying all these hefty second apron taxes. Like, this is their existing tax bill on top of their already salary cap as it is. I don't know, Dan Gilbert, the owner, right? Like, yeah, I'm willing to invest. I don't know the guy's financial situation. I know he's won a win in Cleveland. Are you willing to invest this hefty tax bill for a team that might win 47 games this year? That's less appealing than a team that won 64 last year. So I do think Cleveland might be at a crossroads soon. I don't want to be, like, especially you guys that are Cavs fans that enjoyed this team so much last year, that's enjoyed the rise of Mobley and Garland in-house, and obviously going out and getting a star like Donovan Mitchell, bringing in Allen, hitting guys on the margins as well. To be like, blow up this team. This team needs to blow it up. This team is not 9-15 or 9-18. They're 15-14. They're above 500. They have the 13th best net rating in the NBA. It just feels like it's been hot and cold. They've lost 4 to their last 5. So now we're like, okay, do you make some type of move where I don't think Mobley or Mitchell are getting traded? I would be shocked if Garland got traded in season. I think it comes down between Hunter and Allen. And it's just like that case where, yeah, I'd rather trade DeAndre Hunter, but Jared Allen has more value. And does that work out for the coaching schematics of this team? I don't think Kenny Atkinson is going to be on the hot seat, especially after the year they had last year. But I think we all maybe underestimated the departure of Ty Jerome and the risk in Lonzo Ball, who's not been able to run the second unit as effectively as Jerome did last year. But hey, Jalen Tyson looks great. He's under a bargain contract for the next 3 years, which is fantastic for this team going forward. I think the Sam Merrill contract with the premium on shooting looks really good. And I know they were able to have that long-term financial flexibility with trading away Okoro for Lonzo, who they can cut at the end of the year. He's got a team option, and they didn't have to commit long-term money to Ty Jerome. But Ty Jerome is making less than Lonzo Ball this year. I don't know off the top of my head if they were able to still give Merrill the extension, sign Ty Jerome back with Lonzo Ball being, or like not trading for Lonzo Ball and maybe do Okoro for something else in a way. But yeah, this team is just not clicking right now. It feels like guys aren't trying as hard. The body language isn't great. And hey, that can all maybe change if this team can go on like an 8-game winning streak. And we're like, okay, those are the Cavs that we expected to be at the top of the conference. Like, this team had a solid record still at the start of the year. They were, what, 7-3 to start off the year, and then it's just been kind of 500 basketball in a way since. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you did enjoy. Let me know if you guys want to see this with any other teams as well. I think I'm going to do a Golden State Warriors version maybe this weekend. We'll see, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.